Hey guys, I thought today I would give you a little tour of my Y2K themed bedroom. There will be more added, but I wanted to kind of walk you guys through everything. And I thought that'd be a fun video. Um, and not only have I made my bedroom Y2K, but I kind of in my life have. I've removed social media from my phone, so that now the only way to get to Blue Sky and all the social media that I use is I have to go to my big ass computer desktop. Not only is it nostalgic for me, but mentally, in the early 2000s, we weren't obsessed with likes and clicks. I feel like we lived more in the moment. Like, tech was there and it was fun. And that's kind of how I'm looking at tech right now. It's not a necessity of life, it just makes life more fun. But nonetheless, I am having a lot of fun decorating my room. I'm having a lot of fun just living more in the moment and doing these kind of older things. So, yeah. All right, here's the first half of my Y2K bedroom. We have an Evanescence poster here. Most of this stuff was on eBay. This is a poster of the famous show 24. This was I think these both were from magazines of that time. So, yeah. This is a ad for EB Games when the PlayStation 2 launched. I remember EB Games. I don't know if any of you guys do. These are Platinum Hits Xbox. I just got this one like a week ago. Also from eBay. I try not to give money to Amazon just because of the corporate stuff. I'd rather give money to people that, probably really need it. And these are not bought, but well, they are bought. I didn't steal them. This I got with my mom at GameStop way back in the early 2000s. So this is a personal thing of mine. This does Ring of the Time, NFL Game Day 2001. My dad probably bought this for his birthday or Christmas or got it as a gift. This is a cheat code book. I'm sure you remember these. This is an actual relic. My Blockbuster that I used to go to all the time had a big sale, and this is Ghost Rider on PS2. Demo disc. Jam Pack, summer of 2003. This is where I first played War of the Monsters, which that game is badass. And I was at a store with my cousin when I got this. This is the Soldier of Fortune PlayStation 2 Gold Edition. I got this at the mall, at one of the malls. I don't remember which one exactly. This is pretty cool. This is a back in the day, I was really obsessed with the TV show Alias with Jennifer Garner. So of course, one day probably me and my dad were out shopping, and I got the Alias video game. So yeah, and this is of course the PlayStation 2 that I got with my grandmother, who now has passed away. But yeah, now it sits as a kind of a prop. And this I found in my basement. My mom was cleaning out stuff, and she handed me a big box, and this was there. Survivor VHS tape. Now, for those of you, this is a little less known. This is PSP, the PlayStation Portable UMD video, a format that did not last long. But yeah, so on the other side of this collection, I have an American Idiot poster. This movie poster is District 9, which came at the tail end of the 2000s. It came out 2009. So it still counts, and it's also one of my favorite movies of all time. And here is an actual 90s memory thing, because my Y2K is late 90s, early 2000s. So this is Brooklyn from my favorite animated show of all time, Gargoyles. Not a relic from that time, but he does represent the 90s edgy era stuff. Then next to my TV, we have a ad for Blockbuster. where you could rent video games back then. Oh, so fun. This is not a relic of the time, but someone on eBay makes these holographic cards, and of course, since Nickelback is such a thing of the time, and I like Nickelback, yeah. This is from my Blu-ray collection. This is an insert from the movie Daredevil, um, and yeah. So you open it up, and there's disc one and disc two. I don't have the two disc edition. I was just able to find this pamphlet thing. This is an MP3 player broken, just there as a museum decoration. Museum. This is an actual relic from from the early 2000s. This is Angelina Jolie at her finest when she was Lara Croft. And this I got at Hot Topic, Shadow the Hedgehog, who is another character that just represents edge and angst of the 2000s, and I love him. And this is actually a relic from that time. My mom bought him. Of course, he is Napoleon Dynamite, and a big movie of the early 2000s. So I think he fits quite well into this collection. And one of my favorite possessions that I have here is an actual premiere magazine, Daredevil. If you can't tell, I love that movie. This has all kinds of like old school ads that you would have seen in that time, and the whole thing about making of Daredevil, DVDs for. So there's just a lot of cool reminiscing things in this. And then here is a bookshelf. I mean, I know bookshelves have been around for centuries, and but paperback and hardcover books, you don't see them as much anymore. This is an early 2000s relic. Guardians of Ga'Hoole, the Owls series by Catherine Lasky. This is a pretty rare find. I spent a pretty penny on this, and it even says Borders on it. And down here, most of these games are remasters of classics, but we have Lara Croft, Mass Effect Trilogy, Gex, Ion Fury, which is not of the 2000s, but it's a game that is that style. Ratchet and Clank, not early 2000s. Call of Duty, not this game, but this one, Modern Warfare, is kind of a classic game of that time. This is the remastered one, but Modern Warfare is definitely of the early 2000s, so it does technically fit in. And here we have Gargoyles, the first 3 seasons. Oops. We have Gargoyles, the first 3 seasons. These are very rare and hard to come by now. And here we have Daredevil, of course. We have Wanted, Prom Night, the 2008 movie, which I think I'm probably the only person who owns this on Blu-ray. The Brave One. These are all early 2000s movies. Untraceable. Tomb Raider, the first 2 with Angelina Jolie. We have Legend of the Guardians here. And then I just got these today in the mail. These are eBay. This is the Resident Evil movie series. And Ghost Rider with Nicolas Cage. Both definite relics of the 2000s. Both very early 2000s style. And I recently bought these zebra print pillows, which zebra print hot pink was a big thing in some bedrooms. And this blanket that I have is chrome, which chrome kind of signified in the Y2K era the future. So having anything chrome, I really do enjoy. I really do like the texture and the aesthetic. And yeah. The early 2000s was also a time of putting up actual physical photos on your walls. So these are all the furry events I've been to. There's some furry artwork here. I miss when bedrooms had like personality. So I feel like my bedroom definitely has it. I almost forgot about this poster here. Gex, very late 90s reference here. This is from a magazine. This is not a magazine I had, but I got it on eBay. But yeah, Gex, of course, has to have his own little spot. I am going to add more to this wall because it is rather, that's my parrot. Um, this wall space is rather bland. And here, this is an authentic 1999 Beanie Baby. This is Tiptoe the Rat, because of course it has to be a rat. Has the TY sticker, the little tush tushy thing, I think does say 99 on it. So yeah, and I got this off of eBay. This is the Daredevil album. I actually had to rip this album to get it digital and onto my Apple Music, so that was fun. I thought I'd give you guys a little tour of the music that I listen to. This is Apple Music, which I prefer I think is much better than Spotify because of Dixie Chicks. You know, they don't get mentioned in early 2000s videos a lot. They were definitely early 2000s country. Not all of these are early 2000s and 90s, but as you can tell, most of what I listen to, Fleetwood Mac, one of my favorite bands of all time, Evanescence, of course. As you can tell, though, a lot of what I do listen to is of that era. I didn't listen to this stuff in high school. I was a suit and tie wearing kind of kid. I was kind of scared of rock and stuff, so I feel like now I'm discovering all sorts of things. As you can tell, some of these bands are 80s too, but you know, a lot of them are not. It's nice to just click on an album and listen to the whole thing. Sometimes I'll just leave it on in my room while I do stuff, clean, whatever. Stevie Nicks, my favorite singer of all time. And I had to rip the Daredevil album, but I do have it on Apple. It took me a while to figure out how to actually do that. The whole album is not on Apple if you look it up. So yeah, this is my real music gallery. And over here on my machine, we have Tomb Raider. We have a Lara Croft figure, which is of that era. I don't remember when I got this, but they are pretty pricey now. Over here, Brooklyn stands proudly on my water jug. Point and shoot camera, which I'll be bringing to conventions, so I don't waste battery on my phone. And, you know, point and shoot cameras are fun. I have an assortment of early 2000s clothes, which I'll wear tomorrow. I have this skull cross thing. The sleeves are sewed into the shirt itself, and not only are they comfortable, but baggy pants were of that time as well. And today, of course, I'm going to use my Axe body spray. Use that in small doses, I tell you.